I just finished the videos, well, the Spanish part, but uh, regarding the calendar, I got to the last video, which had to do with the birth of Mashiach. When I said something that I wasn't explaining real deep, so I wanted to make an image of it so that people could understand it through the image. And then I realized, well, I saw that a bunch of people had, with the same info, the complete opposite interpretation, meaning that he was born on Sukkot. So that made me take like a couple days to research again that point. And finally, yesterday, like at midnight or more, I got to the um, to understand why. And also, once again, I saw the bunch of opinions that they have, the bunch of interpretations, some so weird, others seem to be correct, but I had to go to the original, to the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I was able to see the fragments that had to do um, with the subject, which is regarding the priestly courses. David had set up 24 families of the descendants of Aharon so that they would serve in the temple during the year, 2 weeks each family each year. But the year has 52 weeks, and 24 times 2 would be 48. So there are 4 weeks there that are left on the side. So a lot of people, because of that, make a lot of interpretations of how it should be. So don't some say that during the weeks of feasts, all families would work, but in that case, we would still have 1 week out. Um, and not only that, the weeks were counted from Shabbat to Shabbat, and the main feasts, Matzot and Sukkot, go from the middle of the week to the middle of the week. So that would make another mess, because then that would mean that a family would end their course during the middle of the week, and then all the families would enter, and then they will go, and then that family will have to continue at the end, that last half of the week that they had. So it gets a little bit confusing, and that's not what we find in the Dead Sea Scrolls, at least the fragments that I saw, which I think were all that had to do with the subject. Reading those fragments, I saw that in Luke chapter 1, we see that Zechariah was in the temple when he was told by Gabriel that his wife was going to be pregnant with Yahuhanan, the immerser. And it says that Zechariah was working according to the course of the priesthood of Abiyahu, or Abiyah. And Abiyah is one of the 24. So that means that kind of gives us an idea of when that would have happened. An idea. And if we count from that moment 9 months, that will be the birth of Yahuhanan. And if we count 6 months more, that will be the birth of Mashiach, because there was a difference of 6 months between one and the other. So going through all the opinions and then going to the fragments, I saw that it said that there was a set of 6 years, which is like we had it as well, but not regarding the priesthood, but regarding the week that we had to add at the end. Remember, 6 years, then a week. However, that also happens sometimes after 5 years. But in this case, they would set up 6 years, a set of 6 years, which also is connected with the seventh being the Shemitah, right? So a year of rest when everything would be a little bit different. So 6 years for the 24 families to go around and around and around through those 6 years. And since there are 24 families, 2 weeks for a year, but without those weeks being together, they would work 1 week, then another family would come till the 24 would go, and then once again the 24. So the 24 straight, 1 week each, then 24 again, 1 week each, but that will be 48 weeks. we would have 52 weeks in a year, so 4 weeks that will be filled with the first 4 of the next 24. Hope that's understood. So because of the number of weeks in a year and the number of families, 6 years makes it so that the families would be in the temple working for 13 weeks in total, 13 being the number of love and echad, 1. So each family would be during 6 years, 13 weeks in the temple working, and that makes it perfect. So that was the only way that I saw that it made sense how they would set up the 24. And thankfully, that was from the actual Dead Sea Scroll fragments, not somebody's opinion of them. So they said that the first year of the set of 6 years would begin with the family of Gamul, a family named Gamul, which is interesting because we find that in Chronicles, when Shlomo set up the priesthood, once he made the temple, he started the counting of those 24 families, 2 weeks a year, each family, on the 7th month. So it was like, it seemed like a contradiction to some or whatever, of the fact that it says in the beginning of the year with Gamul, but the first family was Yahu Yariv, Yahweh contends. So why would it start with Gamul? However, the thing is that since Shlomo started on the 7th month, starts with the first Shabbat, Yahuyarib started the work at the temple. And then if it continues, once it goes around, Gamul would be the one beginning that year from Aviv. So the Dead Sea Scrolls pretty much tell us which one should be the one at the beginning of Aviv if it started with Yahuyarib on the 7th. So once we do that, which is what took me forever to do because I was doing it on the calendar and I had a lot of issues. I even made it 3 times wrong. It was pretty frustrating. So then I decided to do it like in text instead of image. So I made it like real quick, like 40 minutes. And once I did it, it was amazing because I did the first one, right? The first year in order, the 24 families, the times that they had to be. I made the count from Abiyahu, didn't fit. I went to the second one, then I made the third one, and I made the fourth, and I made the fifth, and the same. I made the count, it didn't fit, it didn't fit, it didn't fit. I was like, oh, come on. Then I made the sixth, and it was perfect. So perfect that it fits with Yahuhanan being born by Yom Teruah, the first of the 7th, and Yahushua being born on 1st of Aviv. And that fits with other things that I found that are very interesting. When Mashiach was brought to the temple 40 days after he was born, there was a man named Shimon who was waiting for the coming of Mashiach. Shimon, not that person specifically, but that name is the name of the second son of Jacob in chronological order. So when it comes to the months, it connects with the second month. 40 days after the 1st of Aviv would be the 10th of Siv. So the second month. In that order of months, it would be the month of Shimon, which was the name of the person waiting there for Mashiach to come to the temple. And it would be the 10th of Aviv, the 10th of Siv, 4 days before the second Pesach on the second month, because the 10th of the first month, the 10th of Aviv, is the time when they would have to bring the lamb to them, prepare it on the 14th for Pesach and sacrifice it. So the fact that he was brought to the temple on the 10th of the second month, Shimon receives him and gives a prophecy and declares certain things regarding Yahushua. And one of the things is that he was a light to the nations, to the Gentiles, just like the light of the world, the nations, was created on the first of Aviv. So it's as if he was also prophesying of that on the second month, and other things that are very interesting here on the top. Those are the chapters and verses where we find that information and a bit more just in case. So these are 6 years, a set of 6 years for the priest to be 13 weeks serving. The first year of the set, even though I just said that the sixth was the one in which Zechariah was told of the birth of Yahuhanan, interestingly enough, first set would be, the first year of the set would be the year when Yahuhanan was born, obviously because it was 9 months after the sixth set. So it would start with Gamul. You see, when we get to, in the ways in order here, we have 3 months in each column. So the first 6 months are the 2 columns of the left. The next 6 months, the ones on the right. And therefore, each column is a season: spring, summer, fall, and winter. So we have Yahuariv second, because if you look at our calendar, the first Shabbat of the 7th month was on the 3rd day of the month. So since that was the day when they would begin, and that's when Shlomo set it up, that's why Yahuariv appears there, because Yahuariv started on the first Shabbat of the 7th month. So then it continues. The ancestor of Yahuhanan, the immerser, from whom Zechariah came and was told during that time, but not this time. I'll continue. Then you see how it starts with Gamul. Then we have Gamul once again here, and then we have Gamul over here, right at the end. Yahuariv, you see over here as well. So Yahuariv is the last of the first year of the set. So we have Yadayahu as the first of the next year on the set, because Yadayahu is after Yahuariv. I hope that's being understood how this was done. So the second year would have been the year when Mashiach was born, right? Because he was 6 months after Yom Teruah, when Yahuhanan was born. So if it was 6 months after that, it would be during the week of Yadayahu, on the Wednesday of the week that Yadayahu was serving. Not Yadayahu himself, his family, his descendants. And that's so interesting because Yadayahu means who is known by Yahweh. Harim means destined for destruction. So when Mashiach was born, that day was the week of he who is known by Yahweh, he who would be destined to be killed. For the many, this is barley. You remember wheat and barley, few and many. So he who is known by Yahweh was destined to be killed for the many. Yahweh is king. From the right hand, he who would be, Hakot means thorn. He was given a crown of thorns. And he comes from the right hand of the Father. So from the right hand, he who was given thorns, whose father is Yahweh, he will save. Isn't that amazing? The message during the first month. So here's pretty much the message that we see through the year in the way the priests were serving in the temple. So he who is known by Yahweh is dedicated for destruction or to be killed for the many. The king is Yahweh. And from the right hand, Yahushua came, right? To be given a crown of thorns for our sin. A thorn represents sin. Whose father is Yahweh, he will save those who live with Yahweh, those who are in Yahweh, or we could say he who lives with Yahweh, he will save. But look at this. My father is Yahweh. He will save. He who lives with Yahweh will return. So not only was it saying that he came and he was going to die for our sins, but also that he will live and return. He will get up. He will be raised up to bring the cover for the congregation and bring the congregation to the wedding of the Lamb in the room of the Father with happiness, joy. As he said, the pig, representing the false Messiah, would be in the apostasy, the dispersion. But Yahweh will open understanding, for he will give strength through Mashiach, and he will establish the reward once he's weaned, like the last once he's resurrected, as in Revelation 12:5. And Yahweh will draw close those whom he freed, the few, and to whom he will give refuge and comfort. And then he will contend, or for Yahweh contends, which, as we know, it is when the last fights with the dragon to kick him out of heaven, that the few will go to the prepared place mentioned in Revelation 12, after they are taken out during the harvest to receive the reward. So it is amazing also, once again, through the names of the families, we see the plan of Yahweh. And this is the order of the year when Mashiach was born. This is the order. Eventually, I will put this in the site so that you guys can download it as well if you want. This is the order of the time when Yahuanan the Immerser was born. And this is the order of the time when the birth of Yahuanan was prophesied. So yeah, these are the year, the third year, fourth year, fifth year, and the sixth, which is the one when he would have been told. There are two times in which Abiyah, the family of Abiyah, was working in the temple. So we see that the last week of the fall season, Zechariah was in the temple serving. Luke says that he was told while he was serving in the temple. Then he went out of the temple, went home, which would be in the week of Yeshua. And isn't it interesting? He was told that Yahuanan would be born. By whom? By Yahweh. And the week is that of Abiyah. Yahweh is my father. And then after that week, he went home to his wife. And that week in the temple was the family of Yeshua serving. He will save. So that's when Yahuanan was conceived, because it was after he went to the temple, he went home, he conceived, Elisheba conceived Yahuanan. So from here, we have 3 months, this column, 3 more months, 3 more months, and then Yahuanan was born, 9 months on Yom Teruah. And then we have 3 months here and 3 months here. Last column brings us back to the first of the year. So Mashiach was born on Aviv, because it was 6 months after the birth of Yahuanan. And that would be even also very interesting, that they would have both been born on the first of the first month and the seventh, which are the beginning of the two pillars of the year, the two phases of the year. So hopefully that was not too confusing, but I'm very happy that I was finally able to do this. And I also did it, made an image. You see the months right there with the family each week. So we would have been on this week that he was told about the birth of Yahushua. And that would confirm it. But once again, even though I just want you to know that a lot of people use this same method to say that he was born on Sukkot. One of the reasons, because they interpret differently how the families would be set up, when they would be set up. I guess missing some of the fragments of something, because yeah, I don't think it makes sense how most interpret it. And the other reason, remember that during the 6 years they would move, so that's why only on the 6th year would have been the year in which he was told. But in one of the others, somebody would count in a way that it may fit their interpretation. Just want to make that clear. I'll show what I mean if that was understood. So let's see. Since to us, well, if it's perfect for us, if it's perfect to them, they would have to twist it a little bit. And this would have to be here where Miyamin is, or at least Malkiyah or Hakots, to be around the time of conception and birth. So in that case, the closest of the set would be the first, but look how far it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks before. So that's pretty much a month and a half. So it really doesn't fit, but I've heard people using this same method to say that it fits. But I say method, meaning the priesthood courses, not the ones you are seeing, because they interpret it as the family would be 2 weeks in a row. But that's not what we find in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Others interpret that they would skip the week of a feast, and that's not what we see, or I haven't found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So that's why you may find information of people saying that it was on Sukkot using the priesthood courses. So that's why I believe there are other things that we should look at, and that's kind of what I explained in the book, in the video that has to do with the birth of Mashiach. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that.